All right, greetings. Welcome back to Black Bear News. Hold on. My headphones and my hair were not lining up. What's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for being here. What's up, people of the internet? Thanks for joining. We're live on Substack. We're live on Odyssey. Got a couple people on each. We're live on YouTube. And thanks for hanging out. So, yeah, the big news, Operation Epstein's Fury. The big news, fancy, keeping it fancy. The big news is some news that actually was predicted or expected. I don't know that it was that much of a surprise to people, even though nobody wants to see the U.S., jumping into yet another, whatever you want to call it, war, confrontation, operation. We're involved in so many things. But this is a pretty direct hit on Iran and taking out the supreme leader, confirmed. And it's not great. It's not great news. It's giving people a lot of anxiety, giving the markets some anxiety, although you wouldn't know from today, the market seemed mostly enthusiastic about war, even Bitcoin. Oil, maybe they're riding on, the oil going up, oil prices going up. Sixth planet celestial alignment. Oh yeah, I heard about that one. What does it mean? They're not interested in astrology at all, or numerology at all. No, on the contrary, they seem to worship at the altar of all the gods and the planets, Saturn being a big one. Anyways, let's just get into it a little bit. How are y'all feeling about it? Or is it it's weird, they have been doing these things on a Saturday intentionally, for sure, catching people when they're, people are like going out to brunch or going to a family function or doing a little weekend getaway. Oh, we bombed Iran, right? And you're kind of in the I actually was in the middle of something of going to work. I had like music. I had a gig on Saturday, and I was kind of in the middle of like prepping for that, getting my mind right for that, and so it was kind of hard to like focus on. Oh shoot, we're at war, right? Like I couldn't actually take time out to like get into social media or really like look at what was going on. I just saw it like in passing. I was like, oh crap, this sucks, but I have something I need to focus on. I can't really actually devote any time, and I couldn't devote any time to this until this morning. Honestly, I'm a very busy man, is what I'm trying to tell you. Okay, so you have to understand. No, I got life things. I think a lot of people have life things going on, and you can only pay attention to so much, which I think that they count on, right? That's the point of doing the Saturday thing, is it's not in the news cycle, right? It can't be, blasted in front of people when they're going to work or at work on their screens. They're usually out, distracted by something else, probably in a more relaxed mode, not in a news cycle mode. So they do it, they do it when people are kind of like, what happened? And it takes all the way until Monday for a real kind of reaction to set in, the reality to set in. And like it or not, it's kind of effective. it kind of actually does, I think, what they wanted to do. Anyways, the Supreme Leader Khomeini was confirmed dead. I believe like his whole family was killed, which really sucks. And there's, they're saying that there's a mixed reaction in the country. I'm sure like people don't like most, most people are wary, if not outright angry at their government for whatever reason, and if you're not suspicious and or skeptical or a little bit angry at your government, you're probably not paying attention. So, but it's part of the propaganda that we pushed out there. It's a big part of the propaganda that we pushed out that he's a bad guy and people don't like him, right? And it's the same with Maduro, right? The propaganda was Maduro's a bad guy, so it's really good that we went out there and got, saved the people from this terrible leader. I'm not really a fan of that. I don't really subscribe to that. He was such a bad guy, and thank goodness for the Iranian people. I mean, as I saw someone saying very succinctly today, maybe they didn't like Khomeini, but they surely don't like they hate the U.S. way more. The Iranian people, on the whole, en masse, are way more suspicious, skeptical, wary, and probably harbor some hatred way more for the United States than they do for Khomeini. This is what I've heard, Poppy, that they killed protesters, which is not a great thing. But let me see. Where am I gonna? I found something here. So we basically have been, in the case of like Venezuela, Cuba, and other places, we have been, we've had sanctions against Iran. We've been helping starve the Iranian people. We've been putting them in economic hardships. Basically, we have been fostering and festering the people's hatred against their regime in order to facilitate, a regime change. So would this all have been happening had we not been trying to make this happen? Again, I don't support any country killing their own people. Supposedly, was it confirmed that they killed 30,000 people? I don't know. Who was it confirmed by? Is this intel from U.S. intelligence? Is this real intel? You have to. There's so many questions, right? If the U.S. is saying they're doing this to their people, you really have to be as skeptical of that news as you do of anything else that you see out there, right? If U.S. intel is telling you something, I immediately think it's false first. It's good to investigate, good to take a good hard look at it, good to see if, maybe is this confirmed by multiple sources, blah, 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 blah. But I'm going to immediately be extremely skeptical of anything that the U.S., the media, or the intelligence agencies, or both of them together are trying to tell the U.S. people, like, oh, this is what happened. They're very bad, and we got to go get them. Are you sure? Are you positive? Iranian authorities carried out widespread deadly crackdown on anti-government protests that began in December. The government, Iranian, claims 3,000 deaths. Human rights activist news agency verified 7,000 deaths. Iran International and other outlets cite internal documents and sources suggesting 30,000 deaths. So, anywhere between 3,000 and 30,000. And I don't know for sure. I'm not there. I can't personally verify any of this. We have to take some things on face value. Where is it? Let's find this. Oh, where did it go? Oh, here it is. Lee Camp. The average American and the average Iranian does not realize that the US government creates economic collapse in countries they seek to crush. Here is the US Secretary of Treasury admitting, or rather bragging, that the US created the Iran protests.
All the partners, the Treasury, and what we have done is created a dollar shortage in the country. At a speech at the Economic Club of New York in March, I outlined the strategy. It came to a swift and I would say grand culmination in December when one of the largest banks in Iran went under. There was a run on the bank. The central bank had to print money. The Iranian currency went into free fall. Inflation exploded. And hence, we have seen the Iranian people out on the street. We will continue monitoring all the partners, all the Iranian partners. The good news, Senator, is that we have seen, and we can see it with our fencing, the Treasury, and what we have done is created a dollar shortage in the country. At a speech at the Economic Club of New York in March, I outlined.
So he's just saying they created this economic hardship to get people out in the streets protesting, to create instability, right? To destabilize the government there. And yeah, you can totally be upset at the Iranian government's reaction to this, but you have to hang the blame on the US as well. Israel is, this is from today. Israel is going genocidal on Tehran after failing to achieve regime change or any other stated objective. This is unbridled state terror supported by every element of the transatlantic elite. This is Max Blumenthal's post. Well, and we destabilized Iran in the first place. We are the reason why Iran is a fundamentalist, Muslim fundamentalist country. They were a democratic, and a fairly open, democratic, progressive, modern country before we took out their president and destabilized them in the first place many, many decades ago. And what we got from that involvement, the blowback that we got from that doing what we did, was an authoritarian, religious fundamentalist government. So, what up, people? People filing in here. Hello, Salt Lakers. Bella, Denver, Poppy, Chuck. Going south. John. All right. I think I saw everybody in here. Got Jenny on Substack. Whoever else is lurking over there. Lurk, schlurk. Are we the baddies? Asked Timothy. Yeah. Okay, so they have also apparently on, again, this this is what we are seeing from the news. Iran has closed the Strait of Hormuz and also hit a major refinery, a Saudi refinery, and people are expecting a jump in oil prices, which will lead to basically further inflation across the board. Again, this is not a surprise. Many people have been suggesting that this is what is going to happen when we hit Iran, that we're going to see a jump in energy prices, which will, in turn create commodity spikes. And so, many people have been suggesting, that you take precautionary measures, tighten your belt, or get extra supplies, or whatever it is. Here is Nico House. Iran, fill up your gas tanks because gas prices are about to skyrocket after Iran closes the Strait of Hormuz. And Saudi Arabia has closed down Aramco, or it closed down its largest refinery. Oil prices have been jumping, so in the last few weeks. If you've been out and about, that over the last week or so, especially in the last week, that oil prices have gone, or gas prices have gone up by EV stocks. And yeah, true, Poppy. I meant to show this. We'll listen to Nico.
And there's an economic impact, because y'all do know this on Monday. Fill up your tanks, ladies and gentlemen. Fill up, if you got cars at home and you got the ability to fill up your gas tanks, fill up your gas tanks today. If you got to make any big trades, you know what I'm saying, anything like that, if you got stocks or anything, boy, look what I'm telling you. Currency, if you do like a currency exchange and stuff like that, that's what I'm telling you. 20% of the world's oil comes through the Hormuz Strait. Barrel prices at this moment, if this block holds out, price per barrel could get up to between $150 and $200, which could bring up the overall inflation around the world at least 0.5%. And if you understand, that is nuts. That will be crippling, because now the reason why is because if price per barrel of oil goes up that high, supply chains get more expensive. Everything then becomes more expensive. So you're paying more for gas, but then you're paying more for everyday goods. Everything gets more expensive, so everybody's price got to go up. So even your bills get more expensive. But pay stays the same.
Okay. Oil prices rose sharply Monday as disruptions to tanker traffic through the Strait of Hormuz raised uncertainty about how U.S. and Israel attacks on Iran would affect supply to the world economy. Key focus was the Strait of Hormuz at the southern end of the Persian Gulf. Tanker traffic dropped sharply as satellite navigation systems were disrupted, data and analytics from Kepler said on X. UK Maritime Trade Operations Center reported attacks on several vessels in the area on either side of the strait and warned of elevated electronic interference to systems that show where ships are. A bomb-carrying drone boat struck a Marshall Islands flagged oil tanker in the Gulf of Oman, killing one mariner. Iran has been threatening vessels approaching the Strait of Hormuz and is believed to have launched multiple attacks. Saudi Arabia intercepted Iranian drones that attacked the Ras Tanura oil refinery near Dammam. I don't know if I'm not pronouncing that correctly. And the refinery was shut down as a precaution. Saudi state television reported market attention has focused on whether the conflict will widen to other oil-producing countries in the region. Oil price shock comes as U.S. gas prices were already rising. The price of crude is the single largest factor in how much U.S. drivers pay for fuel, etc. It's interesting because no oil eventually good for Earth. Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't think that's, they're gonna do whatever they can to keep it going. We'll just see how much funny business plays out between now and whenever the end of this thing is. It's I was thinking though, like oil prices right now are like $70 a barrel. So back way long ago, so long ago, in 2008 or 2007, when the right before the big recession, gas prices were up around $4 a gallon, sustained for several months. And back then, I feel like crude oil was in like the 120 range, or maybe even higher than that. The price per barrel was quite high, and that was the price for gas we were paying. Now crude oil is like $70 a barrel, almost half of what we were paying then, but we're still paying the same price. 20 years later, we're paying the same price for gas. So who knows what gas prices will be if it does go back up to that 120, 130. I feel like it got to a high of like 150 at one point. Excuse me. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Norway, Russia profiting from higher oil prices. Yeah, I'm sure. Drone strike released high level of radioactive material. Can you see if you can find anything on that? Really? Huh. I mean, excuse me. No, I'm not really seeing. Hold on. I'm not really seeing anything on that. And I haven't seen that in passing. I have not seen that in passing. Here is some. I don't know how, if I can verify this. Operation Epic Fury gone wrong. A quick update from credible sources. They're just saying they're credible. The United States lost 4 F-15s, 3 in friendly fire, 1 on ground due to a strike. More than 178 American soldiers have been killed so far. Approximately 411 injured in Iranian attacks. The United States has suffered $400 billion in economic losses in 4 days. Yeah, that's probably the most credible part of that, but so I mean, there's not going to be a lot of confirmations on casualties and or losses, I don't think, right now. So whatever you're getting on that, I would double, triple check that. Okay. Glenn Greenwald telling you that yes, the Democrats seem as limp-wristed and ineffectual as ever. I keep hearing things that they're trying to, muscle up some support for some action against Trump. I they're so quiet and seem so weak, and um um is- and they just are not, they're not mounting really much, they're really, you hear reports of Hakeem Jeffries like telling Democrats to be nice and don't ruffle any feathers, and just they're busy shaking hands across the aisle or whatever. I don't see much of a of a of a of a resistance, if you will. Anyways, here is Mark Kelly doing talking out of both sides of his neck and doing the Democrat double speak thing. Senior Democrats are making clear they will not only will they do nothing to restrain Trump's war in Iran, but they actually support it. So spare me all the bullshit. This is Glenn Greenwald, especially after Biden financed, armed, and empowered Israel's destruction of Gaza. The Dems are different. They are not. I don't know how many times you have to hear this.
Khamenei being dead is a very positive thing for the region.
So he's just echoing the talking points, right? Oh yes, this is great. We've taken the bad guy out. Come on, that's a good thing.
But we have a lot of service members there. A lot of
if you create a power vacuum, if you destabilize the area badly enough, you will get well, you might get what you want and get full control of everything over there, but you also might get unintended consequences. He's got a shiny dome, doesn't he?
equities. We've got embassies all over the place. They have a large terrorist network. They've got the the Houthis and Hamas that are in the region. Hezbollah. There are options that the Iranian regime, whoever comes next, has to target U.S. citizens.
Two more quick critical questions for you. If there is a war powers vote, Senator, will you be a yes?
Well, I'm going to have to take a close look at it. I want to hear from the White House what their strategy is going forward. I would say at this point it's rather unlikely.
I mean, he's just sounding like, every time there is a push for war, right? The media and the Democrats start going, well, we got to make sure things are done right, and we want to see what happens going forward, and et cetera, blah blah blah, et cetera. In the end, they all fall in line and support war. I mean, this is just, it's got all the way back to the Iraq War, and probably go further back than that. But in my lifetime, the Democrats just seem to fold whenever war is afoot. They're like, no, actually, I think we're good with it. I think we're fine. But this is also part of the unintended consequences, which is that you're going to create, you're going to lose sympathy from the American people. For the first time in 25 years of Gallup polling, more Americans say they sympathize with Palestinians than with Israelis. Some people are saying, like, this is what they want. Okay, sure. Sure, I guess so. I just don't see how this can end up being a positive thing. You're doing to Americans what you have done to people of the Middle East for decades, which is turn everybody there against you. and though you may be able to manufacture consent for what's going on right now, you're in, well into the future, people are going to, or we can hope people will have a memory and will be not supporters of this stuff. But I don't know, if you go back to the 2000s during the George Bush era, and how what a disgusting terroristic fumbling administration that was, and people were so incensed at the ridiculousness of everything that went on there, and yet really nothing changed. Well, you could thank Obama for that. Obama came in and made everybody just settle down there. Well, we got you. Just patted everybody on the back. Okay, we got you. And everybody's like, oh, this is great. Things are going to be different now. Right? He was the great the great soother of all that Americans experienced and felt during the George Bush administration. The great panacea. He just came in and just, smoothed over everything so that everybody felt like, all right, well, can we go? Everything will go back to normal. It didn't really. All right. So this is, why can't I remember her name? So a few things are happening with war being a distraction in the background. And there are very few countries. We've been toppling all the countries that aren't a part of the IMF central bank system, the global currency system. And here's Catherine Austin Fitts talking about the implementation of a global currency social credit score / you know what I mean? Obama, we must look forward, not backward. Yeah, exactly. Like, oh no, we're going to go back and try and hold anybody to account. Heck no. Heck no. Heck no. We got some money to launder. We got wars to start. Anyways.
Not about their nukes?
No. Iran's central bank counts because their oil and energy is very important, including for China. If you're going to come out with programmable money,
with a revolutionary new payment system,
with digital IDs that are interoperable globally, that controls in each jurisdiction centrally, you can't afford leakage. Iran right now is the big leakage in the system. Now, Larry Fink and BlackRock have said,
we need to move very rapidly.
They're planning on trading all stocks and bonds using tokens.
All investments on a tokenized platform.
What it means is this is going to be...
we have one common blockchain.
Potentially $100, $200, $300 trillion market. $100, $200, $300 trillion market.
The wars, the Epstein files, the aliens, AI... it's all to keep you from the truth. The power brokers are trying to preserve US dollar dominance at any costs. All the value is converging into precious metals and soon the digital rails. Put your faith in God and he'll handle the rest.
Okay. Where did I see the list of... Here it is. In addition to killing Iran's supreme leader, the U.S. and Israel murdered his daughter, grandchild, and daughter-in-law. Man. So, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Well, there's a few countries that are not linked into the central bank or don't have a central bank system. And there are a very few left, like Cuba, Iran, and I think North Korea might be one of them. Excuse me. And so, if they can topple Iran, and I guess what she's saying is that they want to get all the countries that are not linked into the SWIFT payment system, all that. Speaking of $200, $300, $400 or $1 trillion market, the October derivatives market nominal value in the early 2000s was $45 trillion. It's now 700 to 900 trillion relevant. How much structural and institutional coercion? Huh. Does $700 trillion buy? Whoa, a whole lot, man. 700 trillion. I mean, what's the global? What's the value of all global wealth? I think it's, a fraction of that, right? Oh, maybe not. Global wealth is estimated at 915 trillion. Maybe not. For some reason, I thought it was much less than that. So 900 trillion, but if the entire derivatives market is equal to the value of all global wealth, yeah, that's pretty. Well, and then you can get into just, are those valuations, or what are those, what are they counting in that valuation? Oh, you're good. All right, what's included in the global wealth? What's counted in there? Accounting. Well, here's Dre. This is a really long video. I can't even begin to play this, but she's also talking about something else that's happening, which is, I think, very much tied in with digital currency, social credit score, right? All of this, linking everything and being able to hooking us into a global kind of tracking system. And this is all of this is connected, right? We'll just play the beginning of this, and I don't know how long we're going to get into this.
Just struck Iran, and the United States is almost certainly right behind them. But I need you to focus, okay? Because today, the same day that those missiles hit, Oracle has quietly announced that the U.S. government has just authorized it to run generative AI on federal government data. What? Your data and my data. The contract is titled FedRAMP High with a DISA impact level of 5. That means that Oracle can now run artificial intelligence, meaning pattern recognition, automated analysis, and decision-making tools on the Department of Defense mission data, on classified intelligence systems, and on your Medicare record. And you'll never guess the AI model that they're using to run across all of these records. Grok.
So wait, just to go back, just to recap on the last year, we've had like all of the attempts to, the Doge thing, and I'm sure it's all connected to like the Medicare, revamping and IRS revamping, and like all of it is an AI injection. Like they're trying to inject AI surveillance into basically every freaking thing. And this is just an ongoing process, right? So, and probably what Catherine Austin Fitts and several other people said, this is what the Trump administration is here to do, which is just, erect, inject, set up, establish the digital control grid. And if everybody's, off balance, off kilter, from trying to like stay alive through, rampant inflation, and then, the news being bombarded with news, ice, ice injections into several blue cities, war, all kinds of war acts, acquiring Greenland, and there's a lot happening at the same time, a lot for people to take into not feel kind of lost in everything that's going on while all of this is happening, and everybody feels a little bit lost, or maybe overwhelmed to the point where they're like, I just can't look at this anymore. That's me. That's actually me. I'm describing me. Like I'm so overwhelmed most of the time by everything that's happening that in order to stay sane, I have to like wall off my exposure to the news. Like if I cannot be exposed to the news all day, or I will lose my freaking mind. So I have to take it in little chunks. I have to like, tune in and go like, what's happening? Fuck. And then tune out and go like live life. Because if I don't, I cannot. I cannot. So it's very effective what they're doing.
Elon Musk's XAI on top secret government data on your healthcare records, all through Oracle. And that announcement went up on Oracle's blog the same day that every newsroom in America was pointed at Tehran. Now, I don't want to tell you what to think about all of that, but I will tell you this. The last time we went to war with the Middle East, Larry Ellison used all of the chaos to lock down the UK's entire government data infrastructure. And I went over all of that in another video, which I highly recommend you watch after this, because the British are still fighting these surveillance apparatuses and digital IDs that came out of it to this day. And he's doing it again, except this time he's after us. Before you write this off as Israel's idea and is dragging the US into it, remember who funds Netanyahu's entire military. Larry Ellison does. Remember who controls Israel's entire war data infrastructure. Larry Ellison. And Larry Ellison is in the middle of closing a lot of deals right now, and Congress is about to be too busy with a war to stop any of this. So we have to stay focused. Because I don't know about you, but I'm not about to live in some Orwellian surveillance future without putting up a fight first. This week, David Ellison's Paramount Pictures reached a deal to acquire Warner Brothers Discovery. And
I'd like to just add an aside to, I really like Dre and I like it, but she says about to live in an Orwellian surveillance future. We are way super down the road, by the way. We're already being surveilled like probably more than you realize. The question is just how far down the road are we going to allow it to go? I don't know that we have a lot of power in that. I'm not saying we don't have any power. I'm saying we're going to have to really, as she says, focus, focus. But we are already way down the road of being surveilled and manipulated at the same time. Surveilled and manipulated. Scott Ritter is in a bit of denial too, saying Democrats will put Trump in jail. Yeah, I find that hard to believe. I'm hoping, there's a part of me that has, a little glimmer of hope that they will somehow get together and get enough rope enough Republicans in to put the brakes on something, but I just don't see it. I don't know. We're not going to listen to too much more of this, but
And we need to talk about Oracle's role in all of this. This is a roughly $111 billion merger, and it's the largest media merger in American history. Also this week, Oracle won a landmark contract from the Centers of Medicare and Medicaid Services to host Medicare and Medicaid chip and ACA marketplace data for more than 150 million Americans.
Nothing bad.
And a few days
Nothing
before
bad
that,
can come
Oracle
from
picked
that.
up an $88 million task order for the Air Force cloud operations on top of the top secret clearance it already holds for all 18 U.S. intelligence agencies. So in the span of a week and a half, your Medicare data, Air Force operations, and the largest media company ever assembled now has AI authorization to process all of it, and it all landed on the same company's infrastructure controlled by the same family. Oh, and now we have a big old war in Iran to distract us from the fact that they're migrating all of this data over and going to train these AI models on it, and then it'll be too late by the time we notice. I'm Dre, and this is the Dre Dossier, and I'm tired.
Okay. Well, you guys got the idea. You got the general overview. If you want to go watch the rest of that, or maybe you've already watched it. Steph says nothing will change. Regardless of what we do, we can boycott as much as possible. I think so. I think we can. We can keep trying. I mean, it is hard to not be overwhelmed, but I think we need to fight through the overwhelm and really try to focus in on the things that we can control, which is mainly ourselves. Beyond that, I don't know what to tell you. If enough people can create parallel economies or parallel systems as much as possible to drain, it's up to us to shut things down. Indeed, actually, I mean, ain't nobody going to do it for us, and nobody's going to come save us. And there's nobody that's going to come save us, especially not the Democrats. If you're waiting on the Democrats to grow a pair or strap them up, I just don't think so. I don't see it. Yeah, government may start surveilling. Right. We're it has been a very fast hour. We're quickly approaching 1:00. Guys, if you like the show, if you support the show, if you want to continue to see the show appearing on your screen in front of you, with all the energy that I can muster to bring it to you, please consider supporting the show. There are lots of links in the description box of whatever platform you're watching on. Mainly, I'm talking about Odyssey and YouTube. There are links in there, places where you can support. All the usuals are there: Venmo, PayPal, CashApp, Zelle, Buy Me a Coffee, Ko-Fi, etc., etc. Many of you support the show on the regular. You know who you are. I really appreciate you all that do support. I do. I thank you. Patreoners, thank you. I appreciate your support on Patreon. I really do. You can support on Patreon and on Substack. There you go. I will be doing a music stream tomorrow. Tomorrow's Tuesday. I do loops at noon on my Kevin Sandbloom channel, YouTube, also Patreon, Kevin Sandbloom, the #1, also Instagram at Kevin Sandbloom. I did a surprise stream on Friday. I don't know if any of y'all caught that, but usually Tuesdays and Fridays, I'm going to do a noon stream of music. So that's all over on the Kevin Sandbloom channels if you guys want to check those out. And plenty of you do make your way over there, and I appreciate that. I think here's from 50 Shades of Way. The U.S. Department of Energy has approved its largest loan in history. Just when you think that nobody cares about climate change anymore, you get the confirmation that nobody cares about climate change anymore, or cares about stopping planetary destruction. The U.S. Department of Energy has approved its largest loan in history, $26.5 billion, to Southern Company's subsidiaries in Georgia and Alabama to cover the massive surge in electricity demand for data centers. So we're underwriting a private utility offering lower than market interest rates, locking in fossil fuel infrastructure, shifting risk onto taxpayers, subsidizing big tech's AI expansion, and polluting rural communities in the South. Tell me again how this is MAGA or fiscal conservatism or free market capitalism or anything other than a huge corporate handout. Yeah, we're going to make sure that the data centers have all the power and fresh water they can possibly need in order to function. But as far as human beings, not so much. Southern Co. is Koch brothers? I think so. I think you're right. Yeah, sounds about right. Big white tech bros. Big white. Yeah, that and it's happening all over the country. There are communities that are fighting back. So there are, pockets, glimmers, if you will, of hope. I think that's the local way is the only way. Or the best route. Sorry. Looking at my Twitter feed. Or not the feed. I'm researching something. Yeah, there are some communities that are fighting back. A few who have been successful in keeping the data centers out of their communities. You can buy access to the parallel universe where Kamala won on pay-per-view. Probably. Southern Company has donated $1 million to America First policies. I'm sure they have. They all work for the same people, Democrats and Republicans. They are all in league. Don't you know? And I don't know. I see. I feel like. Oh, here we go. Here's the article. Just looking through here to see if there's anything interesting that I'm missing, other than what the headline is saying. I mean, but we already, we know most of the ins and outs of this, the data center story. I don't think we're going to get to a point where people are legitimately going to care about the destruction of the planet. We bypassed the fake World Economic Forum caring about climate change era and gone probably straight to the the end run fascist, authoritarian, technocrat stage of as things start falling apart. The only answer will be for the powerful of the world to consolidate power and try to control, everything that's, all the resources that are left to our disposal. And that is not good news for the little guy, for the people that aren't in the club. And that club will probably, right now that club might feel accessible, might feel, large enough to, you can get in there. But as things get weird, when the going gets weird, the weird turn pro. I think that's a Hunter Thompson quote. As things get weird, that club is going to shrink and people are going to find themselves outside of the walls. Hey, I thought I was, nope. Sorry. D-Truth, what's up? How you doing? But I'm sure all of this is, all of this is done with the knowledge that time is limited for a business as usual world, climate wise. It may be a timing issue over, I don't know. Biden did quite a few things that were in line with what, Trump is just, again, carrying the baton. They just pass the baton to the next one. You do, you got some things to do. You have an agenda. All of it within the larger agenda. Yeah, they need stuff in place, and it may not matter who. I don't think it does. The genocide kicked off under Biden, and they were pretty much like, "What are we going to do? Send Israel billions of dollars?" That's how much we care. They had bigger plans, but Biden was not the man to see those through, period. Trump is the perfect antichrist figure, pretty much. I mean, pick your antichrist. I don't know. Epstein, Trump, Netanyahu. Will somebody else come out and compete for the title of Antichrist? We'll see. Stay tuned for the next episode of As the World Burns. All right, guys. I appreciate you hanging out. Good to see you all. I'll see you on Thursday for another episode of Black Bear News at noon, Thursday at noon. Appreciate y'all. And until next time, beware the bear.